Welcome, friends, fans, to another episode of the Gluttonous Geek presents Munchies and Minis. It is a D&D inspired cooking demonstration and painting show where I first work on making a Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy roleplay inspired snack, and then work on painting a miniature. Now, do bear with me for the first few minutes. I'm having a little bit of trouble, it seems, with my music. I'm just about to start here. For some reason, it's not playing. Huh. That is so weird. Okay. Right then. So I will figure that out in another minute or so. I do apologize for the wait. Like I said, for some reason, it wants to not play anything. Maybe if I do that. Maybe if I play the next song. Nope. Well then, we shall try this another way. Bandcamp, come to my rescue. Much better. Much, much better. Okay, so, yeah. I managed to get that to work. So, right. As I mentioned last week, I'm currently working on the 52 Weeks of Dungeons & Dragons Challenge. It's a fan art challenge. Last week's challenge word was magic, so we made a microwavable Feywild raisin cake, kind of in reference to Dungeons & Dragons Planescape campaign. This week, I'm actually jumping the gun. It's supposed to be rat folk for this week's challenge word, but due to a lot of internet issues, as in we had internet down for 2 days, and I had to deal with that, I did not have time to do the prep I needed for that, so we are skipping ahead a week as far as the challenge is concerned to the term high society, and then continuing on rat folk next week. But as we were kind of going with that, right, I was talking about things. Yes, talking about things. So high society, as you think, probably referring to the wealthy or aristocratic classes that you would normally find in a particular city that your adventuring party is visiting. So I wanted to create something that was inherently Dungeons and Dragons, but still high society, like very kind of sophisticated, while remaining simple in preparation. So I consulted PowerScore's great list of Dungeons & Dragons food for its just various food items that they listed. And they have items listed from Dragon Magazine's Build-in article. Underneath they have the wealthy list of foods, and one of them is smoked salmon with wild berries. Now that seems a little too simple, you know, put some smoked salmon and wild berries. That, honestly, a poor person can do that pretty easily. Just go to the store, buy some or smoke your own salmon. If you're going to a high society inn, you probably want something a little bit more constructed, something that takes a little bit more effort. So I'm going to show you 3 techniques today to make something that's going to be very highbrow, but actually pretty darn simple to make. So I'm going to be making some smoked salmon crostini with some gorgonzola compound butter and herbed blackberry jam to once again play on that whole wild berry sort of thing. So let's go ahead and get started, because it's going to take about half an hour for us to smoke our salmon, so I should probably start showing you how to do that. And thinking, oh, we're going to go outside? No, we're going to smoke salmon on my stovetop. So what you're going to need for this is, for one, a stovetop. 2, you're going to need a pretty sizable stock pot, something that fits on that burner pretty easily and nice and deep. So the biggest thing, though, is that stock pot is going to need to fit another 2 items, one of which is going to be a pie plate. This is about 9-inch thin metal pie plate, and a metal steamer basket. Here, let me kind of show you on the tripod. Steamer basket. So as you see, it fits pretty easily in there. So let's go ahead and just start constructing our little stovetop smoker here so you can see what I'm doing with that. So you're also going to need some aluminum foil because this is going to make cleanup a lot less of a hassle. So I'm just going to put some aluminum foil on the bottom of here. I'll line it just a little bit. Make sure that it's covering the bottom. And also as kind of flat as you possibly can so it conducts the heat as well as possible across the surface. Then I'm going to put a handful of apple hardwood smoke chips. You can find these at most grocery stores in the barbecue section, or actually in home improvement stores around where all the grills are. So yeah. And you kind of want to have as smaller chips as possible for the stovetop method because it's going to need to burn up a little bit more easily. When it's super large, it's more difficult to do that. So I've got these all laying flat on the surface of my foil here. Next, I'm going to put, my pie plate right on top of that. Trying to make sure to do up the corners a little bit of that foil because the next item for this is going to be my steamer basket. So I'm just going to get that ready for my salmon by giving that a good spray of cooking spray. Make sure it doesn't stick. Okay, so there's my stovetop smoker. Put that to the side for now, because next I need to prep my salmon. So, what you're going to need for this is a pound of salmon fillets, a tablespoon of stone ground mustard, a teaspoon of ground coriander seed, and kosher salt. Okay. And with this, you are definitely going to need something that is currently hiding from me. And yet I know it is here, waiting for me to use it once again. Aha! Found it. Pastry or grill brush. All right. Let's tear that open. And yes, you will want to keep the skin on your salmon. And the reason for this is that you're going to flake it later. But if you don't put this keep the skin on there, it's going to stick to your steamer basket and be very difficult to remove from your smoker. So first, what I want to do with these salmon fillets is I want to pat them dry because that excess moisture kind of keeps the smoke from penetrating the meat properly. So I'm just gonna flip that over, dry that out on both sides. Come on, come on. I'm just gonna go ahead and get rid of that. drive me nuts. Yeah. Dry both sides. Good. So, now that that's dry, first I want to brush this mustard on my salmon. So it coats the skin, the flesh side of the fish. You want to keep your skin side dry. I'm just going to coat the whole flesh. Get that on the other one here. The reason why I'm doing this is this will let the salt and coriander adhere a little bit better, and it adds a little bit of tanginess to our fish while retaining its moisture in smoking. Okay, that is looking good. So, get that up. Cool. All right, and so our next step, now that I've got this nice and coated with mustard, is to first season it with some kosher salt. And it's okay to go a little liberal on the kosher salt because it's not nearly as salty as table salt. And a bit of it's going to get knocked around when we flake this later. Okay. And then I'm going to take this ground coriander seed and kind of do the same thing. Distribute it nicely between the fish. If you want, I'm just going to finish that off with some fresh cracked pepper. Now, I'm going to need to kind of massage that into the skin so it stays on the fish while it smokes and helps season it a little bit more. So, yeah. And by massage, I mean just kind of pat it around. I mean, you don't have to be, creepy about it, even though I think I just made it creepy. Right. Okay, so fish is prepared. Now, I'm going to take out that smoker pot again, which I've already prepped, and I'm just going to put my fillets on each side of the spindle on my steamer basket. Position so any drippings still go into the pie plate underneath it, but also so this, stays upright, which tends to be a little iffy. I think that'll work. Okay. All right. So, what I want to do next is get this on the stovetop. So, first, what I'm going to do, close that up, switch to my stove cam here, where I wish I could zoom out a little bit, but this should show you what I'm trying to do here. So, what you want to do is seal up the edges of this pot here with foil. Because you want to keep the smoke in there as much as possible. Also keeps your kitchen from going overly smoky either. And if you're wondering about that, you're going to need another thing that your kitchen should absolutely have if you have a stovetop. Especially when you need an exhaust fan. And I don't mean exhaust that's going to blow it back right into your kitchen. I mean it's the kind of exhaust that needs to go out to the outside. Because otherwise you're just circulating smoke around your kitchen and you don't want that. You don't want to be setting off a fire alarm or anything like that. So, okay. Now that I have that all sealed up, I'm just going to turn the heat on to high. And now I'm going to need 2 timers. The first timer I'm going to be setting for about 7 minutes. And the next timer I'm going to set for about 30 minutes. Not 30 seconds, 30 minutes. Okay. So, while we are waiting for that, I'm going to switch back to my prep cam here, and we're going to work on the rest of our dish. Congratulations, you got pretty much the hard part done with at this point. So, now we want a couple of toppings to go along with our crostini. But in the meantime, I'm going to take advantage of the cutting space I have here to get ready for my bread. So what I want to do is line a baking sheet with foil. Then you want to take an 8-ounce baguette. It can be sourdough, it can be French bread. And we want to then slice it on a bias to make about, I want to say 12 to 15 half-inch thick slices. This will probably give us about 12. So here's the basic way of holding a knife. First, you need to take the index finger of your dominant hand, put it back here right up against the blade, put your thumb here, and then comfortably adjusting as needed, fingers around the handle. So, just move that out of the way because serrated knives can tend to go a little crazy all over the place. So, as my husband can confirm from this past weekend. So, I don't think they can hear you, babe. Okay, so, yeah, just slicing about half-inch thick slices. Hopefully I can get a dozen out of this, but I might have to go a little thinner. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Four, 5. Give me a smaller one. And 6. Yeah, significantly smaller one, but that's okay. So, just need to lay those out on my baking sheet. And we will toast that in about a minute. Well, in a little while. Once I'm able to get my toppings made. So, put that to the side for now. All right. Okay. Clear that off. Butter is. That is not very soft at all. All right, next up we're going to work on our jam. So, what we now need is a tablespoon worth of fresh thyme. So, here's how you strip thyme. Just take the stem. There you go. Pick the leaves off there. And try to get the stem off as much as possible. Okay, got about a minute left on that first timer. Now the reason why I say to set a timer for 7 minutes and one for 30 minutes is the first 7 minutes is when you want to have your heat on high to essentially ignite your wood chips. Oh, right. And when you're thinking about it, make sure to turn that vent hood on as high as possible. So hopefully that's not too loud. At least I'm hoping. Okay. 15 seconds left on that first timer. Okay, so that first timer is gone off, which means that I need to turn down my heat all the way to low on my stove top to let it continue cooking with that smoke. Because I want it to cook from the smoke, not necessarily from just essentially being baked to the side of a stock pan. So, also you don't want your smoke to be too acrid, so that's why you don't want your heat all that terribly high. Okay. And yes, okay, stripping time might seem tedious, but it gives you something to do while you're waiting for the fish to smoke. Okay. So I will admit, it's kind of interesting taking a look at my own streaming stats at the moment, since, you know how I said that my internet wasn't really all doing that well? Well, we did a bit of speed test. For a while I thought Comcast was just not giving me the service that I had paid for. But it seems like we've had connection issues for months now, and it's always been kind of slow. And my frame rates usually had about 74 drop frames, or 47 to 74 drop frames, but right now I am not seeing any drop frames whatsoever. So that I'm very happy about that. And I think that we did, like I said, we did a speed test, and we went from having about 6 megabytes per second to 50 megabytes per second. So that makes me very happy from a standpoint of streaming things, because that means everything's going to be so much clearer, and you can also see what I'm doing much better. I mean, as you can see, the picture is very much clearer. First I thought, well, maybe I need to spend more on the webcam. No, don't need to do that. So yeah, okay, that's looking like enough time. I mean, feel free to kind of keep it on there. Okay, so I got a tablespoon of fresh thyme. I'm just going to add that to my bowl that has about a quarter cup of blackberry jam in there at the moment. And next, just going to set that to the side for now. I'm going to chop up some fresh mint. So I'm going to need about 2 tablespoons total chopped up. So just this is probably more than I need, but So first what you want to do is strip those leaves. Save the stems, because we're going to put that into some vegetable stock or chicken stock later on. Maybe not today, maybe next meal prep Monday. Though if you want to watch kind of a preview of posts to come, this upcoming meal prep Monday, I'm going to attempt to get the recipes I want to review for the official Elder Scrolls cookbook done. No, I didn't actually do the cookbook myself. That would be my friend Chelsea Monroe Cassell, who's also behind the official Game of Thrones cookbook, as well as the official World of Warcraft cookbook, and soon to be the official Firefly cookbook. Yeah, you bet your butt I'm jealous. But that aside, the nice thing about knowing cool people is that you have a chance to really kind of see the inside workings of these things. But yeah, my copy arrived at the beginning, the end of, I want to say, last month, and I've been wanted to use it for a while. I just haven't gotten around to it since I've been busy as all get out. See, that's about a tablespoon of fresh chopped mint. Just gonna add that back to my bowl, and I'm just gonna need a little bit more, it looks like, because this is gonna be the garnish, one of the garnishes for our crostini today. So just, yeah, stripping more leaves. Okay. All right, and you just take that, roll that into a bundle. cut thin little strips. Now that's obviously more than a tablespoon, but that's perfectly fine. Ah. I guess it's kind of a compact tablespoon. Can't hurt to have a little more garnish. Okay, so just send that to the side. And now I want to kind of stir that up and mash it into my blackberry jam so it will infuse those fresh herb flavors into my jam. Also, you want to add just a little pinch of kosher salt, kind of sharpen up that flavor a bit. So, that is looking good. Very good. Okay. Always wash your hands after licking your fingers. Just gotta say that. Okay. Now, we just need to make our compound butter, which really is a fancy name for butter with stuff in it. It sounds pretty high society and highbrow, but really it's one of the easiest things you can possibly do, and it'll elevate practically any meal. So, I got here is a full stick of butter, which equals to about a half a cup. You want it softened. Mine's still kind of cold, so I'm just going to nuke it for, I want to say 15 seconds on high. You don't want it melted so much as you just want it softened. It's like whenever you try to make cookies with cold butter, it just doesn't work, does it? Hi. Okay. My husband's taking my car keys. Oh dear. What is happening? All right. That is looking good and soft. That is perfect. Okay. What I forgot to mention is that you want to refrigerate this while waiting for the other stuff to do its thing. So, to my half a cup of butter, I'm just going to add about a quarter cup of gorgonzola cheese crumbles. And then start, and just add a little bit of a time, and just start pressing that into it. Okay. Now, since I used unsalted butter, I'm going to just add another pinch of kosher salt. Season that up some. Ultimately, you just want to whip that into there. With a spoon or a spatula. Okay. Just add another salt to that. And while I want it spreadable, I don't want it to be liquidy, especially when I add some hot salmon. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spread it out. Just give that a taste. Just add a wee bit more salt. And yes, I know I licked my finger, but it is not currently touching the spoon or the salt, so we're good. Okay, so that's good and spreadable. And try the other finger here. Perfect. So that's going to go into my fridge to firm up just a little bit. So, dang it, that's good. Oh man, and the smell of applewood smoke is now wafting into the kitchen beyond my, what's it called, vent hood. So that is a good sign, especially since we've got about 10 minutes left on our smoke, or at least 10 minutes left while it's still being heated up. So that means I still have some time to spare, which, hey, good for me. Because I have some stuff I need to do. I, in fact, am cooking for my Star Wars game group this weekend. And you think that, you know, after cooking a 6-course meal for 17 people for the Game of Thrones premiere, and no, I'm not a caterer, so that was just out of my own volition, I would be completely done, but nope. They've done a lot of cooking, so now it's my turn. And I was so incredibly very lucky to find sirloin tip steak at my grocery store on sale. Like super freaking on sale. I'll show you in a second. Let's see, we've got almost about 2.5 pounds of sirloin tip steak here that I managed to get for $10. So, bet you're wondering what I'm going to do with that. Well, I will show you. As soon as clear off my counter some. And make my cat very unhappy as I pull her away from my cabinet. So my cat has gotten into a habit of sleeping on top of my anti-fatigue mat, which you can imagine was very fun when when I was cooking a 6-course meal for 17 people. Oh boy. So yeah. What was I going with this? Steak. Anyway, I decided, since I found such a great find with steak, I'm going to try to go simple and do some sous vide steak for my friends. Which, I mean, ends up meaning I'm going to have to lug a sous vide machine and a cast iron skillet out there, but it'll be worth it. Because the nice thing about sous vide is you can just set it and forget it. Oh, it's been about 3 hours. Now we can take it out. Or, oh, it's been only an hour? Okay, well, I can still give it an hour. It's still going to stay at temperature. So, I've got my steak, and I'm going to need to put it into some Ziploc freezer bags. And the reason why I say freezer bags is they tend to be a little bit more sturdy. So, I'm going to use some gallon size bags. was going to do some quart-sized bags, but So I'm going to do about 2 steaks per bag here. Probably more. These are pretty thin steaks after all. So, just gonna move things out of the way here since I only have so much viewer space on here. What I want to make sure is that I have enough room in between the steaks for it to vacuum seal when I do the displace method. So as you can see, I can fit about 3 steaks into that bag. Game night's actually Sunday, but what I'm doing now is getting it into bags and with some marinade and some fresh herbs and all that. So all I have to do then when I get there is get them into a sous vide machine. Okay, there's 2. And 3. Now, one of my friends also has a gluten sensitivity, so I'm going to have to keep that in mind when putting together my marinade. So, I'm just going to wash my hands. Man, that salmon's smelling amazing. Okay. And I've got plenty of fresh thyme here. So I'm just going to stick a couple of sprigs onto each steak. So it can absorb that nice sweet flavor. And you know, it makes good use of my ingredients. So. Okay. There's one bag. And flip. Okay. Bag number 2 is done, with time at least. And then, bag number 3. Okay, flip. And I'm just going to put what's left of that thyme on top of my steaks. All right, so use that all up. Now I'm going to get a bit of garlic in there. So, see, I've got plenty of fresh garlic cloves. So first what I want to do, get this right knife far away from me for one, is cut off that little root end there, because that'll help it make it easier to peel. Then I'm going to take my knife, kind of hold it like that firmly, and then smack it. And that will make removing the peel that much easier. You see it just kind of slips right off of there. So, once again, same thing. Cut off the root end, smack. Okay. All right, so now what I want to do is create a stable surface to smash these up. I'm going to do about 1 garlic clove per steak. So first, I'm just going to cut that in half lengthwise. Oh, it sounds like our timer's gone off. So what I now want to do is I want to turn off the heat on my smoker and then shift with pot holders. Turn that to the tripod. Can't see what I'm saying I'm doing. And I'm going to shift it from one burner to the other. Ooh. Actually, I'm just going to move it to a what's it called? No. Whew. That was a bad idea. And I just totally melted my drainer mat, which I discovered is not a trivet and should not be replaced for one. So shame on me for thinking that would be a possibility. So as you can see, the pot is still very much hot, so I want it to cool down with the vent on top of it to make sure it is venting the remaining smoke there. Because there is still some seeping out. Even as I'm letting the salmon cool inside the smoker, it's still very smoky and will smoke up your kitchen. So we're gonna just let that cool as I continue to prep these steaks. So here we are, back with our garlic cloves. I've already sliced it in half here. Now what you wanna do is you want to be able to help release the oils from the garlic. To do that, you take some kosher salt and put it on your board. Then you put the garlic clove, cut side down into the kosher salt, and then smash that sucker up. So yeah, and it's already starting to release the oils of the garlic, which is going to be great as I marinate this. So I'm just going to bring back our steaks over here. Scrape that up. And just put that on top of one of our steaks here. And that's going to help infuse some garlic oil directly onto the steak. So, to repeat, smash onto the salt, scrape it up, and deposit it on top of another steak. Kind of distributed that. You can see what I'm doing here. I already went ahead and put that on my other steak. So, 1 clove is done, 3 more to go. Slice that lengthwise. A little bit of kosher salt. Cut side down and smash. Okay. All right, so that side is done. Just gonna flip that over. And you know the drill, salt, flat, smash. Okay. Slice, salt, smash, steak. Okay. Cool. All right. That is 1 bag with thyme and garlic. Set that to the side. And bag number 2. Ow. I cut my fingernail during Thanksgiving when I was chopping up some rosemary, so that's what the owl is for. So don't worry, I didn't just hurt myself on the air. Okay. Man, I really did mess that up, didn't I? Oh well, I'll have to buy another one at some point. Okay. So 3 steaks, gonna need 3 garlic cloves. Cool. So once again, to repeat, root end. And you don't have to be all dramatic with your smashing either. Just as long as it gets the job done. Looks like I'm gonna have a little bit of a ruined bit on this piece of garlic. Okay. But that's fine, because I'm just gonna cut that section off. More common than you think. So, slice, salt, smash, scrape, and steak. Okay, that's a garlic clove on each steak, so we're gonna flip. Salt, smash, okay, scrape, steak, okay. Oh boy, Alright. I am curious to see how our salmon turned out. I don't think it's cool enough yet, so I think I'm just going to finish doing this garlic stuff. Oh. Get a drink, because I keep on forgetting to do such things. And don't have that many left to do. Probably just do one more clove here. Two more cloves. And I'm making a count from the sesame straight joke while I'm smashing garlic. Go figure. Oh wait, I still have that other steak to do. This is where my brain is going. Right. One more bag of steak. Alright, what am I doing? Fuck it. I used up my F-bomb. No. Anything but that. I can't make any more. Alright, I'm just going to go for the larger cloves since they're easier to work with. Oh man, that one's huge. Yeah, that should do it. Okay. Okay. Hold on to that one because it's going to go on my larger steak. And flip. Okay. Cool. I'm just going to clean that up some. Board off. So I'm also going to need the room for this crostini. Okay. Whew. And I also don't need that knife anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit more cleanup. Yes, I know that is a common thing right now. the next part of this recipe, I would have already had you juice and zest a lemon. But since I have a lot of lemons left over that I already did so for Thronesgiving, I'm just going to use one of those that I have from that. So, okay. Whew. Since I'm still waiting for that to cool, let's get a little bit more marinade, like actual marinade, onto this steak. So, I want to use, Just checking my fridge out here. I want to use things that don't have any gluten in it. So I can't use any soy sauce, or believe it or not, Worcestershire sauce. Oh wait, nope, that's just soy. I am not seeing any wheat whatsoever. So, Worcestershire sauce. Just gonna go a little crazy in there. Then, if I can get to it, I'm going to add a little bit of sesame oil. Okay, because you need a little bit of fat in there to carry the flavor. So, just a drizzle. Because honestly, with sesame oil, a little will go a very long way. So, that is nicely coated. So I'm just going to try to push out as much air as possible. And seal that up. In fact, even if you kind of want to fold it up so they're one on top of the other to make sure that you're getting that space in between, that is not a bad idea to do either. So, once again, Worcestershire sauce. A little bit of sesame oil. Okay. I'm pushing all that air out. And folding that up. And last one. So, I can just put that directly into my fridge and let it marinate over the next couple of days. Just make sure to keep the bag opening up. Okay, cool beans. So that was another cooking lesson within a lesson. And I believe, hope beyond hope, that my fish is done cooling. Or at least cooled enough and absorbed enough smoke for me to take it out. So, what I want is a bowl. Just gonna grab from here. Which I'm just going to go ahead and juice this lemon into it. Making sure to remove any seeds that come out. All right. Cool. So now that's done. I'm going to go ahead and take out my other toppings. Let them warm up just a little bit. And see how my fish is doing. Ow. All right. Pot is cool enough to handle at the moment. A little room for that. Whew. All right, let's switch to the tripod cam here. Remove the foil from the sides. Oh, that smells nice and smoky. Heck yeah. And remove that. Pair of tongs onto my prep board here. That is looking excellent. Smelling nice and smoky. So now I'm just going to flake that fish with a fork here. And it is perfectly cooked through, incredibly moist. To keep its moisture, I'm going to put it into this bowl of lemon juice here. Okay. And yeah, as you can see, I was able to smoke this on my stovetop in a stock pot with some very, very cheap equipment. It didn't have any smoke problems or anything like that. Didn't have to go outside. Just gonna toss that skin. And when you think about it, I mean, you're thinking, okay, well, to smoke my own salmon, I have to get a smoker. Smokers are expensive. To be able to handle a smoker, I have to have a house because I'm gonna need somewhere they're not gonna mind me smoking things. But you don't even need all of that. Cool. So, just gonna turn my vent off so you can hear me better. And kind of toss that fish in the lemon juice, kind of let it soak it up a bit. Just another pinch of salt, or two. Okay. And color me curious, I'd like to know what this tastes like, so. Very good. Okay. So, we got our fish. Now it's time to make our crostini. So, first I just need to set my oven on a low broil. Get that all nice and hot. And you saw me earlier put bread on a baking sheet right here. Now, looking at the amount of fish I have, that might actually be enough for about 24 pieces, so I might amend the recipe for that. But that said, this stuff goes great on salads and all sorts of other fun stuff, so just gonna let that soak up some. Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah, and finally my energy levels are finally catching up to me, so you can imagine yeah. It's been a long week. It's been a very, and it's only Wednesday. I should have put water instead of wine in this. So, I think that oven is ready. So I'm just gonna toast it for about 2 minutes. Oh, wow. Well, something obviously dripped in my oven during Thanksgiving. Wow. The smoke, instead of coming from my stovetop, is coming from my oven. Go figure. I think it might have been when I did the duck breast for Tyrion Lannister. Because I know I finished it in the oven, but duck fat has a tendency to splatter everywhere, so it wouldn't surprise me if it got all on the burners, and therefore is smoking up the place, because now that fat is... You think burning duck fat would actually be a good smell, but not really. All right. So, let's see how our compound butter is doing. Do I need to soften it up some? Yeah, it is hardened up a little bit more than I like. So, I'm just going to do ye old microwave method. 15 seconds on high. All right. So we've got about 47 seconds left on our toasted bread. So just gonna switch the stove cam really quick. Show you it's something like that. Let's see. Are you toasted? Oh yeah. It's feeling crispy. So I'm just going to flip those. It doesn't look toasted, but it definitely feels like it is. Okay. Stick that back in there for 2 minutes. And we are back waiting for bread to toast. Right. But in the meantime, it looks like I could probably do a wee bit of cleanup. I believe my steamer basket's cool enough to handle, so I'm just going to take that out. Get that into my sink and rinse that off. But yeah, like I said earlier, you can totally just smoke things, smoke food on your stovetop for super cheap. The only pain in the butt really is just cleaning your stock pot because it's a stock pot. And they're huge and they don't fit in the dishwasher. Okay, and it looks like, yeah, our chips are fine. They're cool. All right, how's our bread doing? Oh, still smoking in duck fat. Kind of wished I had added duck fat to be quite honest. I mean, hey, if you want to do an interesting take on garlic bread for your crostini, use some duck fat and a little bit of salt. It's be delicious, I promise. So, as you see, my smoked salmon now is absorbing lemon juice nicely. And I believe my compound butter is now a melted mess. Great. Great. That was a little too long. Oh, wow. We'll find a happy medium, I swear. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yep. That is toasted. Nice and toasted. So, as I wait for my compound butter to turn into butter again, kind of half tempted to throw it in the freezer, to be honest with you. Oh, right. Yeah. I'm just going to keep cleaning and do things. I clean and I know things. Or I don't know things. Or what are we talking about again? Yeah. Maybe I can throw it in the freezer. You gonna solidify for me? All right. Let's see how it is after being in the freezer for about a minute and a half. In the meantime, I'm just gonna go ahead and put together some plates with bread on it. And transfer my crostini to my plate. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool enough. Okay. All right, how's that butter doing? Another minute or two. 2 minutes in the freezer should do it. I keep on saying that it should do it, but I personally don't actually know. So we'll see what happens. Let's get that out of the way. And, nah, I was going to move things over for the mini painting already, but I probably don't need to. As I wait for butter to harden. A lot of hurrying up and waiting in around here. So, but, you know, as you wait, good policy is to clean your kitchen while you wait for things to happen. Therefore, you have less things to clean up later. Fewer things. Thank you, Stan Baratheon. Fewer things. I swear, watching Game of Thrones has made my grammar a little better. And I realized the music stopped. Let's change that, shall we? Let's go for... This is a good album. That's not an album, that's a... Well, we can start over. Cool. If you're wondering where the music is from, it is by, or it's called Broke for Free. Broke for Free makes a lot of kind of atmospheric music to be royalty free for things like streams, videos, and podcasts. If this music sounds familiar and you've listened to the Myths and Legends podcast, that's probably where you heard it from. I love it because it keeps me going in the kitchen, which would probably explain my drop in energy. I didn't even notice the music had stopped. And it gives you something to listen to other than my mumbling. So, okay, yeah, that's good. Okay. So, now that our butter is spreadable again, I'm just going to stir that up a little bit and spread about a tablespoon's worth, half a tablespoon's worth on each crostini. So, for those who are just joining us, this is a compound butter made with gorgonzola cheese and kosher salt. And if you don't know what compound butter is, it's actually kind of a fancy term for butter with stuff in it. It sounds cool, but it's really just that basic. And know a lot of people tend to get scared off by cooking by just, oh, it seems so complicated. Actually, no. And the biggest thing with cooking is you just gotta have to have patience, but otherwise the procedure, the fancy stuff actually tends to be a little bit easier than you would think. No, it's actually all that home-style stuff that tends to be a pain in the butt for me. Like, anytime you stuff a roast, I hate it so much. I mean, gotta tip my hat to all the home cooks who want to put that kind of labor into something like that. It looks like we're a little bit out of butter, so we're just gonna steal some from that one. And that one. Okay. So now that you essentially have buttered bread, go to a fancy inn and, you know, get burned bread and butter with funky cheese like you do. Then I'm going to add my herbed blackberry jam. About a teaspoon, dollop teaspoon per toast. And for those joining us, this is blackberry jam mixed with fresh thyme and mint. And just a wee bit of kosher salt. Just brighten up those flavors some. Okay. Alright. So now we got our jam. Have our jam. On there, it's time to add our smoked salmon. And just kind of distribute as much as or as little as you want on there. Like I said, I probably made twice the amount that I actually need. So I will, when I put the recipe card up, it will be amended for that. If you're wondering, that's about a ½ pound of salmon and half the spices and mustard and all that, as opposed to a full pound of it. Unless, you know, you want to toast up another baguette, make a double recipe of compound butter and jam, and just double it up. Okay. All right, and now I'm just gonna garnish it with a little bit of lemon zest. And fresh mint leaves. Okay. And we have smoked salmon crostini worth serving in a very highbrow Dungeons and Dragons tavern. Okay, so that was my recipe for our Munchies and Minis portion, the Munchies and Minis show. My name is Catherine Borges, you're watching Glutton's Geek Presents Munchies and Minis. I'm about to go into painting mode to work on our miniature. I've just about finished my orc, Bubbles the Belligerent, last week. This week we are starting on a Dragonborn mini, who I haven't really completely decided on colors for, admittedly, but I'm tempted to name him like Bosco the Party Dragon, so we might have some fun with some colors on that. But yeah, if you thought this recipe was interesting, do watch the video of this later on. I will be posting that to YouTube probably within the next couple of days, probably the next 24 hours. Also, if you want to cook this at home and don't want to watch all the way through the video, all of my Munchies and Minis recipe cards are available through my Patreon page, Patreon community, at the Kitchen Twitch level and above. That is $5 a month, where not only do you get the recipe card for each one of my Munchies and Minis episodes, there's about 3 to 4 per month. You also get access to all the playlists that I create for my blog posts, as well as you get an entry in the monthly mini giveaway, where you have a chance to win the drawing of the mini that I paint during this month. So if you want to check that out, that is at patreon.com/thegluttonousgeek. I'm just dropping that into the chat. And when I realize on the update it is being weird and not letting me do that, patreon.com/thegluttonousgeek. If you want to check out my blog, a ton of geeky recipes. Just posted a bunch of Game of Thrones recipes. About to start posting up some Pokemon recipes this upcoming week. A series of posts, got 3 upcoming, I'm calling them starters. So our first one will be debuting, I want to say tomorrow or Friday, our first generation Christini. So we're talking Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. So if you want to check that out, just hop on my blog or my social media, The Gluttonous Geek. But yeah, without further ado, we should probably get to some painting before I make myself too hungry. And that one looks really good. Okay, which one looks the worst that I can just go ahead and eat now? This one. Well, yes, that is delicious. Okay, so now we get to the awkward part of the show where I start shifting everything around to my paint station. So if you'll just bear with me, and as we do that, just shift things over here. Then switch cams really second so I don't make you dizzy. Okay. Yes, it is really a kind of a safari of wires over here. Lights. All right. I'm on my way. Don't worry. How's that tripod cam looking? Let's put that down some. Much better. Okay. Beans. And of course, drink. Okay. Oh. Okay. And here we are at our paint station. So, last week we worked on Bubbles the Belligerent, who sings a happy merry tune before he chops his enemies' heads off and then preserves them in gold. Yeah, I'm going to come back to him a little bit because there's just a few more highlights I want to make on him before I give him away to this past month's drawing winner, Miss Angie A. So this week's mini, well, this month's mini, is going to be this guy, Dragonborn. I think I'm going to call him Bosco the Party Dragon. Still trying to figure out what that means entirely, and I think what I might try to do is do kind of a disco ball sort of look on his armor if I can. Even that just means silver. Or, I also have this color shift paint from Turbo Dork. It's kind of crazy metallic pink. I still haven't quite gotten it to work yet with my other minis. It says to put it on a black undercoat, but it doesn't really seem to be doing much. And I mean, I even had to do kind of a white layer with that to even get the pink to show up. So what I might try to do is do a metallic on that before adding my pink to see if that helps a little bit. It's got kind of a gold pink shift, so I might actually use my gold on the armor. But first, what I want to do is get some base coats down. So with that in mind, I'm going to have to pick some basic colors for Bosco here to make him appropriately a party dragon. Should I shift this over a bit? Because it seems like my face is kind of blocking Mr. Bosco here. So let's do a little bit of choosing out colors. So we're talking about pink armor. We probably want something like pink and gold armor. Probably want something a little flashy to go along with the backside. So maybe let's do a purple cloak and maybe we should try to make Bosco himself look a little bit more light to pick up all those various colors. So I'm thinking he's probably probably a white dragon or a black dragon. He could be totally a black dragon. Yeah, let's do that. But just because I'm making him a black dragon doesn't mean I want him to just be stupid dark, but at the same time, I have to do base coats, so let's just start on the darker colors now so we can get our shading in properly. So that's going to mean a lot of black. It's going to mean green. Like I said, I'm going to go yellow for the face, and then just kind of, well, nope, we're doing black again. So we wanted to do yellow, we're not doing that. And, okay, let's make the ground underneath him like smoldering lava. So we'll do a bit of red on that too. Okay. So admittedly, this is probably the least impressive part of painting a mini, doing all the base coats, because you don't get to see really any of the cool bits. And by cool bits, I mean all those details. You're just painting in our base colors. I mean, this is a process, so let's just get our hard to get areas first with that in mind. So just start with our ground. So just going to start with some Mephisto red, or do I want to go a little brighter? Actually, Mephisto red is as bright as I want it, so let's just go with that. Start with that on the ground. Because unlike the rest of my mini, where I'm starting out dark and then adding lighter layers, this is going to have kind of a dark, like a sections of rock peeking, with lava peeking out. So I want to go lighter and brighter before covering that up. I'm not worrying too much about hitting the other areas right now, since this stuff is pretty forgiving and will cover up my mistakes. In fact, that's kind of the beauty of painting a mini. Because since they are already 3D, if you mess up, you just paint right over it and you don't lose any of your guidelines. On the other hand, they are small. And kind of awkward to hold if you're not using like a Citadel Mini or a Hero Forge Mini. And if that were the case, I would just use this sucker here. But nope, have to deal with all the crazy awkward edges. Such is life. Let's see. Not sure if that's making things better or worse. On one hand, I want to be able to see it better, but on the other hand, you guys need to see what I'm doing. Okay. Ooh. I'm just noticing this design here. And yeah, I totally want to play up some different colors on this section here. So we'll maybe start with that with a purple, and then kind of add in some of this pink in there too, some more metallics. Maybe even add a little bit of yellow highlights to emphasize that. Okay, so my base is done. Switch up. And like I said, hit all of the hard to hit bits, which in this case is going to be a lot of black. Okay. I'm trying to determine whether that's his skin or the underside of his sleeve at the moment. I'm seeing a little bit of a helmet. Okay. That looks like cloth. Okay, so I'm going to have to work with that. And yeah. Kind of like woven reeds, actually, come to think of it. Say that that's maybe kind of odd to come to think of it for a dragon to be wearing woven reeds. All right. Let's see here. So I am a bit hungry. For the blackening of pretty much everything. Like I said, it looks boring, but this actually prevents me from having to darken my work too much with too many shades. By hitting up all of those little nooks and crannies ahead of time. Then I can just kind of paint on highlights. Like I said, all those various annoying, hard to reach areas. I'm just now getting. that could have been bad. Okay. Stay. I know this does not look sophisticated in the slightest. All right, now it is 8:54. Like I said, it's not the most interesting part of the painting process, but it's got to be done. However, I think that it'll turn out pretty nice. Actually, what I'm going to do tomorrow evening is continue my finishing process on Mr. Bubbles, the belligerent here. I might tune in. I might stream that. I might not. Haven't quite decided on that. And then I will post him up in the monthly newsletter on my Patreon. So if you want to check that out, stop it. Stop. Yeah, you can see the finished result there. Also on my social media at facebook.com/thegluttonousgeek. But yeah, I'll finish that up tomorrow night and post it. And yeah, that was tonight's stream. I do want to thank you for joining me tonight for our recipe for high society smoked salmon. I will be getting that up on the blog as soon as possible, trust me. But in the meantime, I think we should find another one of my friends' channels to raid, see who is streaming right now. Knowing my friend Victoria Rosenthal from Pixelated Provisions, I know that she has a tendency to stream at the moment, so let's see if she is available. If you're wondering who she is, if you've heard of the official Fallout Cookbook, she is the author of the official Fallout Cookbook, and she's also a very dear friend. So, let's get dashboard. Let's get you on your way. Who's streaming? Error searching for channels? You gotta be kidding me. Oh, okay. Actually, so we can do Victoria. She's playing some Destiny 2 right now, or we've got Miss Dryad T just chatting at the moment. Let's see, do we still have people on? Okay. You know what? Tell you what, you're probably in a video game kind of mood, so I'm going to send you over to Victoria's channel. Let's go ahead and raid in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Actually, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Raiding!